Happy Sunday night and welcome to the Park Adventurers Club. If this is your first time joining us on this adventure, please make sure to give us a like, give us a follow, subscribe to this channel. We're going to have a lot of fun, and tonight we are going to be talking about all things Disney Parks news for the past week or so. And you know what? We can't without putting this great panel together of Allison in an empty chair. Yay! Woo! Hey, it's Allison back for the first time. How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me on, Rob.
That's a weird thing to say, back for the first time, isn't it? And then, of course, we also have our mystery guest, which, you know, man, what the heck? I don't know.
People will be excited. People are going to be really excited.
Yeah, it's going to be so fun. There's his arm. There's his body. There he is.
Oh, I didn't know he started. Hi, I was charging. Oh, boy, that's embarrassing. Hi, everyone. You know what's funny is I literally, instead of muting me, I muted you, so I had no idea the show started. But you know what? That's how you make an entrance. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'm excited to be here.
I think I still hear me on your side.
I thought that's what I did. I thought I muted it. I gotta check. Oh boy.
This is gonna be fun.
You know the problem is I have Park Adventurers Club on every screen, so it should be fixed. You shouldn't hear yourself now.
Well, thank you guys for joining us on the Park Adventurers Club. We appreciate it. This may have an old... He's going again. Wait. We appreciate you guys being here for this madness, this insanity. If you haven't joined us before, this is the Park Adventurers Club. This is the place where we meet as a group, just like a club. I have a gavel, and usually if people get unruly, I use this. But you know what? Tonight, Pete's here, so let's just forget about that. And then again, normally I talk about Rob's rules of order, but of course it's already chaos tonight. So again, out the window. But we do have an agenda, and the park agenda is as follows. Reading of the minutes. These are the things that have happened in the past week that we want to give a big shout out to, talk about, share our thoughts with, and then we're going to have our main topic of conversation, our new business is, when should you pay for Lightning Lane? So let's talk about the first thing that is on our agenda, which is the Beak and Barrel. We had first looks at this. Now, we talked a little bit about the Beak and Barrel. We've talked about the menu, looked good. We've had actual people in the Beak and Barrel now that we've seen enjoying themselves in there. We get a look inside. We know what it is. Allison, I know that you've been kind of looking at this project for a while. With regard to this, have you looked at these pictures, and is it what you thought it would be? And do you think it's worth all the hype that people are breaking systems to try to get into it?
I don't think I had a picture in my head. And I think a lot of that is because I'm not a creative person, but I really wanted to see what they were going to do with it. And I really love what they did with it. I think it looks amazing. I love that there are separate rooms with different theming, so that you can have a little bit of a different vibe. That reminds me of the original Adventurers Club that had a masked room and a theater, and you move through. And I like that a lot. And I like that there's a little bit of intimate rooms where you can, I don't know, just feels a little bit more cozy. It's not a huge space. So I think they've done an amazing job. The hype is exactly what I expected. It's too much. It's still just a themed bar, but it is exciting to have that in Magic Kingdom. And we haven't had that. The food options in Magic Kingdom are kind of poor. When I have friends go for the first time and they ask me where to eat, I'm kind of it's not a lot of options. And so to have something where you can get refreshments and sit down, snacks and drinks, and it actually looks really well done. The food looks like good quality. I totally understand between that and the Pirates theming. Of course, this is going to be the hottest ticket in town.
Yeah. Pete, I know that you don't usually frequent a bar, but if you had been into this one, is there stuff in there that you would look for, things that, are you excited about it?
Yeah, I'm super excited. And you can tell it's very popular. Like Allison was saying, this is a hot ticket in town. I just, for those who don't know, we have a Discord for my YouTube channel, and we had everyone trying because my birthday is the 29th. It opens on the 29th. I was like, hey, if anyone can get a reservation, like I will do something for you. Anything you could do. So we had an army of people trying. The earliest we got was like 2.5 weeks from now, and it's like 11 a.m. on a Tuesday. It's rough out there, but I mean, I think people are craving this. I mean, we love again, we've been getting kind of these bland or very neutral spaces from Imagineering. Not, like they have Disney touches, but they're not that old school Disney where you're super immersive, jump in, look at all the little hidden details. Everywhere you look, there's something else going on and there's thought behind it. This looks like that. This feels authentic. I forgot who had originally posted this, like Scott Gooseman or somebody on Twitter, but I commented and someone wrote something about like, see what happened. And I wrote, look, we're not hard to please us Disney lovers. Just give us well-themed spaces and we're happy. Show that you put a little time, effort, and a little bit of money into a space and we will love it forever. But when you just kind of whitewash something or we can tell when you threw something together, that's when we become a little disappointed. So I'm not shocked that people are excited for this. It looks incredible. You could definitely find me in there most of the time if you're at the Magic Kingdom, so come find me.
All right. Well, let's move on to our next piece of new business, which is, of course, that Disney announced a ton of new things for Walt Disney World. And you know what? It's not like they have a convention that's happening next weekend where they could have shared all this information. I mean, heavens no. I mean, but yet they decided to do it. It seems so weird. I'm not exactly sure why. I have theories as to why they would have dropped all this information this past week, but they shared new concept art of what's going to be happening with the Muppets overlay to the Rock and Roller Coaster. They shared new looks at the Buzz Lightyear car and the new targets and the new guns that were going to be there. And then they also shared Big Thunder Mountain, a couple of new concept art pieces for Big Thunder Mountain, and some weird video that they had the cast members do. And then all of these announcements coming like right before Destination D23. The last one was the Zootopia is now going to be open on November 7th. We knew it was coming this fall. The Better Zoogether, that's everybody's favorite pun, I guess. Yeah, exactly. Pete, out of these announcements, is there anything in particular that you were surprised by, excited by? I feel like they just siphoned off just a little bit more information on all of these projects. Nothing, I don't think, groundbreaking news, but thoughts, comments, concerns?
Yeah, I'm with you that when this was all dropping, a lot of people on the Disney Twitterverse and in a lot of Discords were like, "What is going on?" Like they have, like you said, there's a convention next week, but the announcements were kind of giving us just like 2% more information because we're such super fans. I feel like we got very excited, of course, but this was a lot of stuff that we kind of sort of knew already, or they just gave us a little bit more. I think that this is stuff that had to be out there. I'm hoping at least. For the announcements coming out next week about, like, they needed to get this out there first. Like, let's get a little bit of the news cycle, and now we can set up these big previews, or maybe we have, like, some, I don't know, videos or something. They're going to put something out there, I'm hoping. But a lot of, like, if you pull up that list, I forget now because I'm looking at myself, and this is so terrifying. But, like, we knew Big Thunder Mountain was getting the show scene to match California. Maybe even like a more up-to-date one. Maybe a little more, better projection technology. But, I mean, these are all fun stuff. But we knew this. Zootopia opening, we knew. We just got a date. Okay, that's exciting. It's fun.
Yeah. But again, normally stuff that they would stuff they would have done at D23, stuff that they would have talked about at least at Destination D23. So my thought,
maybe there's bigger news for D23 if this is what if they're kind of throwing this out there now. Like I joked again, like in our Discord, like I was like, hey, maybe Universal was about to drop some news, so they wanted to get it out there first, or they got some bad information that Universal was going to drop something, so they tried to beat them. Because they do that a lot. Disney and Universal kind of have some fun there. So I don't know. It seemed weird. It seemed weird to everybody because we're always like, please give us information. There's a radio silence, and then a week before your convention, you drop this. It's strange.
Yeah. Well, Allison, I don't know if you have thoughts on that or any ideas about, I know you just got back from Disney. So did you do any like last ride on Rock and Roller Coaster or just anything that you have, any thoughts you have on this in general? And she's frozen. She's frozen with excitement. I don't really
Good
know.
look,
There
though.
she
Good
is.
look.
Allison, it's to you now. What's up?
Yeah,
Thoughts on
no,
these announcements?
They better have bigger stuff at D20 Destination D. Look. If this is all they were going to bring to Destination D, people would be really disappointed. There are some new laser blasters going on a ride that is getting refurbed. Like, we've made the caverns look prettier. These are big for a typical news week, but if that was what the announcements were going to be, people would come out really disappointed. The timing's weird, and they could have added this to whatever for sure. But it's all good, like good stuff, but none of it is really like earth shattering. A lot of stuff we knew. I think the one thing that stood out to me, and this is just like how I felt about the reskin of Rock and Roller Coaster, but the art that they shared, I'm like, oh, this is so much more themed than the bare hallways we were walking into since 1998 or whenever that debuted. And it's like, I was so inured to that I didn't realize how unthemed really the outside was. It's just the one large guitar, but everything's like kind of blends in. It's not go away green, but it's like go away beige inside and out. And so seeing some of that, I thought, okay, this is actually like kind of nice to see. It makes me excited for what's coming. But it wasn't like, none of it was news, right? And so it was just like a little bit like, here, we're going to turn the volume up, amplify, and here's a little bit of details of how we're going to do that in these spaces and timing, but not actually huge drops when you parse it out, at least not for like a replacement for whatever they're going to say at the Destination D.
Another thing, if I could just add on to that too, is that a lot of these things, even though we're excited for the news and it's exciting, but like it's just like Buzz Lightyear already existed. It just got newer technology. Like Big Thunder Mountain was already there. It just got newer technology. So there wasn't kind of major other announcements. I mean, we're easily excitable as Disney fans. We love it. We're here for the love of the game. But again, like these were re-themes. Muppets, a re-theme. Zootopia, a re-theme under a show. None of these are original rides. So, that's another thing as well to consider. I'm starting out there.
No, that's, I agree. I mean, there could be bigger things. We did a show last week where we talked about our, like, kind of our predictions for this D23 based on what the layout was of the panels, and definitely feel like Villains Land is something they could maybe share some news and new information about. I saw in our pack chat the Jungle Cruiser mentioned how quickly they're moving on Avengers Campus. I still feel like the reason that they're moving quickly on this stuff is so that at Destination D23, maybe someone will go, oh, this is already happening. I mean, look at this. It's like it's been in play, almost like they're trying to play catch up and, read a book that the book report's due tomorrow. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm off on that. Maybe that's not where they're going with that, but I would love to see some big announcements come out of this. I hope that's the case, that they've gotten rid of all the, okay, we need to tell you the new date for Zootopia and we need to show you something new about Muppets just to like wet your whistle, but here's some really cool stuff. I hope that happens. I think we'll just have to wait a week and see. The next thing is Hollywood Rip Ride Rocket at Universal has officially ended and shut down. One of the things that I thought was fun about this is Universal's social media team had the best bit where they basically posted, because it was supposed to be the last day of the attraction and it rained. And so they said, it's going to be a glorious 12-hour finale, Florida weather, you got 12 minutes, or you got a minute and a half. Which again, riffing off of the Muppets, how awesome is that? Their social media team just cracks me up. I think they do a great job. But anyway, this thing is closed and gone forever. Allison, did you ever ride it or want to ride it, or you're just like, hey, plow it down and give me something new, more Minions?
This may be the one ride at Universal, except for Epic, because I haven't been to Epic, but like at Universal and Islands that I have never been on, it just looked uncomfortable. And so at the end of the day, I was always like, I don't think I'm up for this. And I love all sorts of coasters. Put me on Velocicoaster, I'll ride it 10 times, but this just looked kind of like going on Mission Space Orange, where I'm like, oh, I'm sure it's good, but do I really want to do that to myself right now? So I'm a little sad that I haven't gotten to ride it and it's gone, but I don't feel like particularly like I've missed out on anything. But you guys correct me if I'm wrong. I could be very wrong.
Well, and they ripped. I mean, Rip Ride Rocket. They ripped the track down almost immediately. There was no slowing down on trying to break all this stuff down. But Pete, did you go? Did you get one last ride before they shut it down?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't go on the last day, but I went a few weeks ago. I forget which one, but I love this ride. I did want to go on it. This was, for those who don't know, you had a custom soundtrack that synced up with the twist turns and loops and all the fun stuff of Rip Ride Rocket to whatever kind of music. The fun, stressful part was you had a very limited amount of time once you got in your seat. So I just found these on the conference room table, and I'm just like, I'm going to wear these. And they don't fit my face, but here we are. You got to pick your genre. It would be like rock and roll. And then it was like artist. And then you had to put a song in. And there was also another secret list that you punch in a secret code. If you knew the song you wanted to hear, you could put like other random songs that are not normally on there in your headset. I don't know. I really liked it. I think it was a smooth coaster. I love that straight up, that big drop. Honestly, it probably was my, if not counting Islands of Adventure, but at Universal Studios, between that and Mummy is my favorite ride in that park. Like, out of everything. And yes, I'm including Harry Potter because I think Rip Ride Rocket and Mummy are better. And also, I don't do like rides that have glasses, even though I'm wearing these, because I'm on a ride. All the effects, it's not the same for me. So yeah, you can cut out Transformers, you can cut out Simpsons. I was a big fan of Rip Ride Rocket. I'm really sad it's gone. I'm a big optimist, something bigger and better is coming in.
You know what though? Here at Universal, I think they will do something bigger and better, as opposed to. I mean, and the other side of this is it was one day shy of 16 years open. That's almost mean. I mean, it was August 18th that they closed. It was August 19th that it opened. So
yeah, but I heard Rip Rocket was being a real pain in the neck about having a big Super Sweet 16, and it was gonna be a whole thing. They didn't have the budget.
Yeah. At least they had their quinceanera. So I would say, though, that this one didn't feel like it had a lot of the nostalgia of a lot of other things, but they did bring out like the characters from the ride video and a couple other things on that day to kind of celebrate it with everybody. So I personally am looking forward to, like you're talking about, the next thing, and maybe hopefully it'll be something bigger and better. I don't know. Let's get into it.
Do you think it's because that didn't have any IP attached to it, which is why people don't feel as big of a loss when it leaves?
Maybe. I'll let you know when they close down menus.
Like Muppets, the IP we grew up with, and then whatnot. The Mummy is attached to movies and has the Mummy lore. Fast and the Furious. Velocicoaster's got Hagrid. These are all movie and IP franchises.
Yeah.
Rip Ride Rocket was just a coaster that was cool. So maybe that's why we don't feel as sad to lose it. We're like, hey, that's the evolution of theme parks.
Dun 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 dun. I mean. Primeval Whirl maybe is a very similar thing. Like it didn't really have that.
How did you compare Primeval Whirl to Rip Ride Rocket? Get out of town.
That's not. I haven't even ridden Rip Ride Rocket, but that feels unfair.
I meant because of an attraction closing that didn't have IP attached to it. Calm down. Anyway, okay. Let's move on. The final piece of, actually not the final piece, the next piece of what we were going to be talking about tonight is the Food and Wine Festival opens up this Thursday at EPCOT. And we talked a little bit about the food last week, but I don't know if you guys have taken a look at the food that's coming up, the concerts that are coming up. I mean, it's one of the bigger events that they do. And one of the things I definitely wanted to point out for Allison, because nobody loves merchandise more than Allison does, is the fact that they have given us a peek at this merch. Honestly, like, I love that they're doing Muppets merch. I'm trying to sell myself on the fact that I like this shirt more. That, I like the shirt, and not that it just says Muppets on it, but I feel like it's the Muppets that are selling me on it. Pete, I know you probably don't buy any of this merch, but you're going to go to some of the shows, right?
For sure. I mean, look, merch is great for those people who are big into merch. You got to pick and choose your thing. I spend entirely too much money eating and drinking around the world during these festivals, so there's no money left over for merch, which is sad because, merch you could look at for years to come, and I cannot look at that margarita and that snack I had years later. But I do love the eating and drinking. The concerts look awesome this year. They brought back a lot of people. They kind of do that every year. I feel like the trend has been like 75% is the same people every year, or at least from festival to festival. And then they add in like 25% of some new stuff to see what sticks. And I like the new stuff. We got Bowling for Soup, the Beach Boys. I'm pumped for some of the classics kicking off Joey Fatone this weekend. We'll be there Friday night for my birthday. Come on and hang out with me if you see me. Yeah, a lot of people pumped for Mercy Me. I'm excited for Hoobastank. What else we got going on? There's a bunch of people. Of course, Hanson comes by every year for 4 days. It's gonna be. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm pumped. This is one of my favorite times of the year. Going over to EPCOT. It used to be every night for a big show, but like now they bring in the artists Friday through Monday. So just going there on like the weekends and ending your day with a little live music and eating and drinking new snacks. Also, can I just say this about the new snacks and food and beer? AI may not be all bad. You're now able to ask AI, hey, what are all the new beers and locations at this year's Food and Wine? And they will give you the answers. You don't have to do your own research anymore. This is amazing. This is the future.
Okie doke. Allison, I was kidding about the merchandise. I assume you've looked at the foods and anything that pops out at you.
I know you're kidding about the merchandise, but I do have a comment about the merchandise.
Oh, please.
The Muppets Lab shirt that you were pointing to, I was like, they just love to like troll you, right? Like we're gonna remove the Muppets, but then we're gonna like sell you stuff with it on. We're like, we know that you have this emotional attachment, and so now we're gonna like sell you an item with it. But I had to look up where the origin of Muppet Labs was, because to me, the first time I saw it, and the only thing I associated with was Muppet Vision, but it actually is from like the original TV show, like that was like a segment. And so, and they use that in Muppet Vision, but it still feels a little bit mean, like a little trolling to me to like sell you merch after you get rid of this classic and timeless attraction that was beloved, and know that they can make a ton of money on it. It's kind of bothers me.
Do you think you're trying to bridge the gap between Muppets and then the new Rock and Roller Coaster with Muppets, like just keeping the name alive in the vernacular?
Maybe. But why Muppet Labs, right? Like if that were the case, maybe like you see a shirt and it's got Electric Mayhem or something on it, and they're like imbibing. Like that would make sense to me if they're going to bridge that gap. But Labs specifically is not.
They used to have food lab, right? Didn't Food and Wine have a food lab booth for many years? It actually was in the old.
Yeah. In the Odyssey.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
No, yeah, there used to be one.
Remember the old building where they knocked it down? And it was like all black lights, and that was like kind of Muppet Labs. There were beakers, and there was like neon stuff on the floor.
It wasn't really Muppets, but I know what you're talking about, like glow in the dark foods, things like that. Yeah, I remember that.
I don't know. I feel like they're kind of taking ideas off shelves from past festivals, and they're also have this Muppets thing that's. I feel like it's like kind of like the Cracker Barrel logo. Like, why are we even talking about this? And it's like we just keep talking about it. Let's keep them talking about it. Let's just see what happens.
No, I think the chat's agreeing with you, Allison, that they're you're doing all this stuff with the Muppets. They did at July 4th, they did a Sam the Eagle, America mug, which makes you think of the great moments in history.
Mostly America.
Well, that too, and the great moments in history, and neither of those things exist now. So again, we're doing merchandise for things that we're getting rid of. But I feel like the biggest middle finger was Figment, because they just decimated Figment and then just sold a bunch of stuff. So
they exploit Figment every year.
Yeah.
But they've been doing that for years. So that doesn't like faze me anymore. But now it's like
popcorn bucket.
Yes, popcorn buckets. Allison has all the popcorn buckets. No, none.
Was that what you were building the other day? Was it a shelf for popcorn buckets?
Oh no, that was I was.
So yeah. What I'm talking about, you probably don't follow Rob on the socials. Don't follow Rob on the socials.
Yeah, on my social media, I posted, this is how I'm going to spend my Saturday, and it was to build a shelf, and everybody was like, is this for more popcorn buckets? And I just kept thinking, I probably need to do that. I probably do need a nice big shelf for popcorn buckets. So we'll get into that later. All right, so let's talk about our final old business topic of the night, which is to talk about Disneyland. Now, Disneyland, they made some announcements that Disneyland was going to be ending some of the perks that they had coming or that they have for resort guests in 2026. So on January 5th, 2026, there will no longer be early entry for people staying in the hotels. And then also the hotel access to the Pixar Place Hotel, there used to have a special gate, and it was a very short amount of time that it was there, and it was a very nice entrance. They're going to shut that down. They're going to stop doing the early entry stuff for people who stay in the hotel. And it's like, I have so many thoughts about this, but I definitely want to hear from you two on it. Is, first of all, Disney World suffered all of this with losing hotel benefits a while back, the free magic bands, the Magical Express, the parking for a little while, all that stuff that went away. And then, so they're losing some stuff here. I get that. Disney is saying it's because no one uses these features that they're taking them away. And so because they're taking away the early entry, they're giving you one lightning lane.
All right.
No, for this one, I don't remember their reason for that, but for this one, Disneyland is taking away the early entry, the 30 minutes before the park opens to day guests, and they're replacing it with one multi-pass lightning lane per guest for your trip. So in other words, if you're staying for 4 days, you only get one, and you can use it anytime in there, and you can only use it on the multi experiences. So you can't use it anything that uses, and we're going to talk about that in a second, the expensive paid lightning lane, the higher tier stuff. So honestly, that entrance gate is the one that kind of gets me the most, because that was a nice perk to have. And now instead of that, if you're staying at Pixar Place, you're going to have to double down and use the one that the Grand Californian folks use, which makes theirs less special, because now you got twice as many people going through that. And when it comes to these perks, they're not freebies necessarily, because you're paying a premium to stay at a Disneyland hotel. There are 3 of them. None of them really come in at cheaper than $600 a night. And so, let me go with Allison on this one first. Do you feel like that these perks going away, does it matter? Or do you think Disney's right that no one uses this, or is this kind of just another cheap slap in the face here?
No, I mean, I think this has just been a constant eroding of the free benefits, and which were often like the things people would talk about and what makes their vacation great. Now, I think that 30 minutes is like actually not that great. Like, it really isn't that much time to get, like, you can maybe get to one ride before it gets too crazy to ride it, right? Like, so that's always been, to me, like, not enough. They used to give an hour early for resort guests in Disney World, and that was a benefit that was really that really felt like you were getting something. I think 30 minutes is like not enough, but now you're taking away even that. Like, that seems like, why? That feels nickel and dimey. And if they're going to replace it with one lightning lane, then it should be at least 2 if you're staying 2 or more days. So you get 1 for each park each day, but 1 for the whole length of stay doesn't seem like an even trade. But at least they're getting something, right? Because in Disney World, when they take something away, they don't give you something else. Like, there's no additional benefit or trade-off. I think they must know that those coming to California will not stand for even a no trade. Even they'll we'll handle an uneven trade, but no trade, they'd revolt. Rob, you're muted, Rob.
Thanks. Sorry. Pete, I don't know if you've ever stayed in a Disneyland hotel, but do you have similar thoughts?
I haven't stayed in them because, I'm a hardworking American. I don't know what that means. It's very expensive, and I, again, spend a lot of my money on food and beverage. But I have gone into them because I like the food, I like the drink, I like to check out the resorts. I think the resorts are very important. I love the resorts at Walt Disney World as well. The gate thing is also crazy to me. I mean, but I guess you can compare that to when Beach and Yacht and Boardwalk had their own international gateway. Then they had the Skyliner, and they just added all of Caribbean Beach, all of Pop, and all of Art of Animation. But the early entry thing is completely ridiculous and unfair. Like Allison was saying, it used to be an hour. They cut it to a half hour. What that half hour essentially is a running head start to those e-ticket attractions where you can be one of those first groups of the day to get on there. Typically, your wait will be less than the average wait time for sure, but probably less than an hour or even a half an hour if you're one of those first people to get into the park and head to that e-ticket attraction. So if you were getting the equivalent of this, you should be getting an e-ticket Fast Pass, or at any ride you want Fast Pass for at least one ride a day, if that's going to be the equivalent. Because that, I mean, granted, you don't have to wake up early anymore, so maybe that's a win. But taking an e-ticket away is brutal, because if you think about that, let's just say it's a ride that holds an average wait time of an hour and a half. That if you're one of those people who can wake up early and get there, and you get it there, maybe you wait 15, 20 minutes in the morning, and that ride is done for the day, and you're already on your way to the next ride, getting into line or right at the normal opening time. It's a major advantage if you can get up and get there early. This one nonsense Fast Pass to make up for it is completely ridiculous. But again, people are still going to pay to go to those hotels. There's only a select number of hotel rooms. I think they'd be hard pressed here in Orlando, although they keep building rooms. But it's just hard because they don't have that gift of space that they know the rooms are going to sell out. They can charge what they want. They can take away the perks. It's not like with no early entry, people aren't going to book it, sadly.
Yeah, honestly, I think that, I could sort of see that it wouldn't be valuable to them to keep the park open or open the park 30 minutes early for people because you only have 3 hotels. But at the same time, those are the people who are probably spending the most money, as opposed to your locals who are eating a sandwich, driving in, doing some attractions, and then leaving.
Be cool on the local scene.
Disneyland. I said
Okay,
Disneyland.
all right.
Sorry. No. We'll get to that in a second. No, buckle up. I'm coming after you on the local thing in a second. But the I mean, honestly, I feel like we lost a lot of stuff in Disney World, losing stuff in Disneyland for hotels. It feels like it hurts more because they're so expensive, and that you're really kind of only getting the bare minimum there too. When it comes to lightning lanes, which we're about to talk about here, well, I say here, I mean in Disney World, because I'm on the East Coast, and Disney World. You can, as a hotel guest, you can book ahead of time, and there's a perk to that. At Disneyland, there's really not that perk to, use that and book in advance. I mean, I think you can maybe buy it in advance, but you can't really book until you walk through the gates. So, maybe walking in 30 minutes earlier helps you to do that. I don't know, but it also feels like operationally it would help the park to be able to basically run sort of a test run for 30 minutes. Like, these are the hotel guests, we're letting them in, everybody's getting ready, get your station set up, get ready for rope drop and all that. I don't know. Y'all let us know what you think. I think it just is just another thing that we're losing here. So let's talk about, I'd close this with my gavel, but I threw it. So so let's move on to our new business, which is to talk about this big question. This is the question before our panel tonight: is when should you pay for Lightning Lane? I just went and re-listened to that great podcast that Defunct Land did about lines, and it's just it's so educational, and it really kind of makes you think about the way that Disney has treated lines over the years. They sort of invented the pre-show and, the whole bit about switchbacks. And, as a kid, you just knew you were going to wait in line, but the anticipation was there for the attraction, and that was part of it. And then Disney started doing things like I said, pre-shows, but also in interactive queues. And, it was an event to stand in line. And then they were like, well, wait a minute. Let's do this Fast Pass thing, and you can get a reservation, and this will be more efficient, and we'll make more money because when you have your Fast Pass and it's not quite time, you'll go pop into the gift shop and maybe stop and get a snack, and and then also it'll free the lines up a little bit. And then they did the My Disney Experience stuff, booking Fast Passes ahead of time, and at that point it was sort of the haves and have-nots. You had people who were standing by line and people who were moving past, but at least it was a free offer and everybody had the opportunity to use it for an attraction. So yeah, I'm watching people walk by me in Space Mountain, but I'm also going to be walking by them when I go to ride Peter Pan. So it's one of those things that it felt very fair because it was included in your price and everybody got it. And then they had COVID. I don't know if you guys remember that. And when they did that, they're like, it's a great time for us to reset. We're going to sunset this thing called Fast Pass, and we're going to introduce this brand new thing called the Genie Plus with Lightning Lanes. And it could not have been more confusing because what the Genie did and Genie Plus did and what Lightning Lane did. And it's is Lightning Lane Genie Plus? Yes, it is, but no, it's not. It was very confusing. They cleared it up by calling things Lightning Lane Multipass and Lightning Lane Single Pass. It's clear as mud, right? It's everybody knows how that works now moving forward. And so it's a paid experience. So what I did And before we get to the thoughts on the panel here is, so you got Lightning Lane multi pass, you've got Lightning Lane single pass, and then this new feature that they introduced called Lightning Lane Premier Pass. So what we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about the difference between the three, how this breaks down, and then maybe the panel suggests some other offerings that maybe you might choose instead of Lightning Lane, and then we'll end up and we'll just decide, like, when should you pay for Lightning Lane, who should pay for it, and when can you use it. And we've got a great balanced group here. We've got Allison, who has a child and goes, every now and then to Disney World, and then you've got Pete, who, like, it's in his backyard and he goes there all the time. So he's a local that just goes all the time and probably has different priorities. And I think we all have a different point of view and different priorities when it comes to this. But let's look at this great plan that I worked out here, which is just Hollywood Studios, and it's just today. So this is taking into account that today is Sunday, August 24th. A ticket to get into Hollywood Studios today was $144 plus tax. So that's the price to get in before you start messing with Lightning Lane. Then for Lightning... Oh, well, thank you, man. I appreciate it. Lightning Lane Multi-Pass. I didn't have time to paint it or to build it to scale, but hopefully everybody enjoys it. The Multi-Pass is $27 a person today. Obviously, it surges. Sometimes it's less, usually more. For specifically the Hollywood Studios, and this is not what you would pay at Magic Kingdom or Animal Kingdom, which equals out to, if you can do all of these attractions in this day, equals out to about $2.45 per attraction in addition to what you were paying for your day ticket. So, I mean, $27 a person per day. It's not great, but it's doable, and it's broken down into tiers. So you can pick one from tier 1, which has Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, Smuggler's Run, the Rock and Roller Coaster, and Slinky Dog Dash, if you can get that one. And then in tier 2, you've got the rest of them, and you can pick 2 of these. And then the single pass, which is not included in that, is $20 a person today, which was Rise of the Resistance. And then if you pay $269 a person, you get all 12 of these attractions, which works out to be $22.42 per day. Now, the one last thing I want to say about this is that you're not getting every attraction that Disney has when you buy a Premier Pass or a Multi-Pass. You're not getting everything. You're only getting the things that are on Lightning Lane. Depending on which lists you look at, there are either 85 to 115 attractions at Walt Disney World. And it's like, are you counting, Dinosaur Sue, the statue in Dino Land? Are you counting things that are open or closed? Are you counting the Impressions of France and the Beauty and the Beast sing-along, because they kind of go back and forth. But let's say around 100 attractions, only 50 of them have Lightning Lane at all. So even if you do buy the Lightning Lane, you're not guaranteed every experience in there. And if you buy this Lightning Lane, you may not be able to get every experience either, because with Multi-Pass, you can only get it till it's gone. And if you have to wait because you got Slinky Dog Dash and you have to wait until you ride that at 3 o'clock or your 2-hour window in order to get a new one, there may not be anything left. So that's my pitch there on that. So Allison, what are your thoughts about Lightning Lane in general? Do you pay for it when you go? Again, you go a little bit less frequently than Mr. Carney does, so you may have a different take on it.
It depends on the kind of trip I'm having. If I'm going with my daughter, which we do once or twice a year, we always get it in the park because she is 6.5 and does not have, she is not going from open till close. She does not have that stamina. We're lucky if we get 7, 8, 9 hours. It's a lot for a kid that age. And if we want to do as much as we want to do, then we're getting it. Now you said okay, maybe 50 attractions have it. Not even half of those need it. And I think to me, that's the most misleading thing about it, especially for people who are planning trips for the first time and have never been there. They're like, okay, look at all the attractions we can skip the line on. It's like, yeah, okay, we get to skip the line on Mermaid and Filler Magic. That's not really a benefit. So it's misleading. But I do think if you are going, you have young kids, and the idea is do as much as you can in a day because you have 3 or 4 days in the parks and you want them to experience everything. It's really the only way that you can do that, particularly in the number of hours that young kids can manage in a theme park. But it hurts. Like it's like it really hits the wallet. Like especially when I add it up, it's usually like me, my daughter, and my dad, and sometimes my husband. So that's 3 or 4 people that you're spending $30 a person for the thing. And then we always get, like, for Rise, we always get that. I'm not waiting 150 minutes with her, even though the queue is beautiful. It's just like, it's not in the cards. Now, if I go on my own, which I do on occasion, and then it's like a leisurely thing. I may go for an event or something like that. And then I don't need, like, you don't need it for after hours events. Or if I go in the middle of the day, I have lunch somewhere and then maybe hit a ride or two. And it doesn't matter to me which ones I do. I don't have to get on Frozen. I don't have to get on Mine Train. It's not a big deal. But I will mention one other thing. Going with my daughter, we were just there a couple weeks ago, and in Magic Kingdom we got Lightning Lane multi-pass, and I got a single pass for Mine Train. Mine Train went down 5 minutes before we were supposed to ride it, which was like 3 p.m. This kid had been in the park since like 8:30 in the morning, so she was at that point. She's toast, and we had like a fireworks cruise planned a few hours later. It took them a couple of hours, and eventually they gave us like a pass that we could use anywhere. But with her, there's a lot of stuff she either can't go on because she's too short. Like she can't go on Tron. She's not tall enough. And she's actually too afraid to go on like Space Mountain. And she likes Tiana, but it's too scary for her. So none of the things where it would be worth it, and we'd already done Pan, really made up for it. So then I spent a half an hour on the phone with Disney to be like, hey, we couldn't use this. And they argued with me about like, but we gave you this other thing. And I had to be like, no, I was in the park with the 6-year-old for 8.5 hours, and the ride was down for several of the hours, and we had to leave because otherwise you have a melting down 6-year-old. Nobody wants to be around that. What am I supposed to do? Like just drag her around to one of the rides that would be worth it goes up. And they eventually gave money back, and they gave me a hard time about it and was like, this is a one-time thing. And it's like, I don't know. Your ride wasn't working. You should be refunding the money, and I shouldn't be taking time out of the pool with my kid to have an argument with you about it. So it can be, not only have you spent a lot of money, but if something goes wrong, you are now bounced around to various like customer service situations, and they don't handle it as they used to 10, 15, 20 years ago. It's not the same Disney customer service you would expect. It takes a whole lot longer. They're not as kind, and they're not as accommodating. And so that stuff is annoying, particularly when you're paying through the nose for something that used to be free.
Yeah, no, and great points. But before we move on to the local perspective, we'll call it that, the local perspective by Pete Carney. A couple things I wanted to throw out there. I think you made a great point about the fact that there are a lot of these that don't probably bring back Fast Pass Plus. He has way too many school supplies at his ready. So like we're going to be in trouble today. Yay. Go Pack. So what I was gonna say was the point of like they're making things need to have lightning lanes that don't need to have lightning lanes. How awful is it when you've paid for lightning lane multi-pass, you just grab Figment because there's nothing else you want to do. You're in line for Figment and the standby lane's going faster than you are. That's like that's ridiculous. And or you show up to a thing that's supposed to have a lightning lane or you have a reservation for and it says 0 wait or 5-minute wait, then it's like, okay, we've basically bought a faulty insurance plan at this point. And again, referring back to that Defunct Land video, they kind of cite the old e-ticket books or the ticket books for doing the same thing, for automatically inflating things because they were in the book at a higher ticket. People wanted to go to them more. And so they cited like Country Bears versus Mickey, the Mickey Mouse review. Is it because Mickey was like a C ticket and Country Bears was an E? They were like, oh, E must be better. I have to go to that. I have to cash this in there. So yeah, I think there are a lot of things that don't work that way. But I think that the big thing to remember is that time is money, and that time is what you need if time is what you need, you will spend the money to get it, and that's what this does. And unfortunately, there was and I say free option, I'm sure is baked into the cost of the ticket. And I thought about that the other day. Like, couldn't they just kind of like raise the ticket price and give us free back again? But of course, maybe not everybody wants to or needs to use that. One last thing I want to do before I hand the reins to Pete is Care Bear in chat mentioned that people with ECVs, because they really crunched down when Lightning Lane came out. They really crunched down on who could get a disability pass and who couldn't. And like some of the people who can't get disability passes, it is criminal. And we're going to talk about that on another show with someone who has had to deal with it. That's going to happen. But some of the crackdown, it was assumed that the reason for the crackdown was that too many people were using this to get away from having to pay the Lightning Lane. And maybe they were, I don't know, but that takes it away from the people who need it. But Care Bear's point was, if you're with an ECV and you're trying to avoid switchbacks, if you do a Lightning Lane, a multi-pass or a Lightning Lane single pass, that's going to help you to avoid those painful things. And I remember using switchbacks through Mickey's PhilharMagic with my mom once, where she was on an ECV, and just thinking this is a nightmare. So I get that. That's totally a reason to do it. But Pete, you have a different set of things because you live the Disney life. You're down there. You're able to go, and like if you don't get to something, you can always tell yourself, "I'll come back." And you also probably know the best times to go. What are your thoughts on Lightning Lane?
Yeah, so for me, once they started charging for it, I want to say, with the exception of maybe once a year, have never purchased a single multi-pass Lightning Lane, single Lightning Lane. Anything that had to pay extra money, that's my kind of no thank you to the Walt Disney Company. I love Disney, but I just think it just makes me so upset, the no fast pass thing. And not only for me as a local, and I wasn't always a local. I was a guy that flew down on the weekends, 3-4 times a year to use the parks. And it was exciting to have the fast pass. You also kind of guaranteed yourself a great day no matter what. Like, all right, look, you're going on those 3 rides. You know what time you're going to go on them. You could plan also a nice lunch or a nice dinner because now you have that set up. Even if you did nothing else besides those 3 fast pass rides, you had times, you had lunch, it was I don't know, for me as someone who likes to plan when you're going to Disney, maybe not so much now as a local when I just meet up with friends in the parks, but when I was planning trips to come down, I was go, go, go. I was one of those people that used early entry. I wanted to maximize my trip. I could get all of Disney done in like 2.5 days on a long weekend and fly back. So it's a shame to lose it. I just also think the system's even more confusing. I have people calling and texting me all the time saying like, hey man, is it worth it? Should I do this? Should I do that? And I go, this is the worst answer to give someone, but like, it really depends on what kind of trip you want to have. And now I don't work for Disney. I don't make money on this, but like, I'm going to spend an hour with this family, be like, well, what kind of, are you guys hustle here? Do you like more time here? Like, it's just because you really need a strategy because there's so many options. It's too confusing. So I'm not a big fan of this new system. I will say, if you want an honest local thing, I think a lot of locals do the single buy on certain rides. Like, we're at EPCOT. I know a lot of my friends will buy the Guardians just so they can skip the line while they're at EPCOT. It's a guaranteed thing. It's always a long line. Why not buy it there? But a lot of the other times we'll say, hey, you know what? It's 60 minutes today. We'll come back another day when it's 20. It's because it's ridiculous to spend that much money on top of what you're already spending. We were joking the other day at EPCOT that whatever the price of the ticket was, but with everything being down, this is before Test Track came back, that if people just came in and did food and wine, the price of a ticket was like $160. And we were saying the cheapest you could spend on like 2 food items and 2 drinks was like another 100. Like, you're spending $250 just to have a couple of bites to eat, a couple of drinks, and walk around EPCOT. It's crazy that now if you want to go on rides, you're spending even more money. And also, I just think it's a shame that my last point, I could talk forever about this, but is that Disney's losing an opportunity to let every person go on that one attraction they always wanted to go on, unless they're financially can even put even more money into their trip. Like, hey, if they saved up all this money, they worked so hard, they're at Disney, they got to worry about hotels and travel, and then the park tickets. At least, hey, we really want to just go on or Frozen, or we really want to go on Ratatouille or Guardians or Tron or Tiana, whatever it might be. Now, unless like they go wait in that, they may not be Disney aficionados, or they might not be able to get out of the room early because of the family situation or their own situation, but it just stinks they have to wait 2.5 hours if they want to go on that one ride, on the wrong day at the wrong time, or even longer. And that just bugs me. I think every family, every person that goes to Disney should be at least given one fast pass or lightning lane, whatever you want to call it, to say like you get one ride that you're guaranteed to go have a good time on. And it actually works out to Allison's point as well. If you have young children, there might be only 1 or 2 rides that you can do that your child can do as well. So like give them that one experience, because again, kids are also the hardest to wait in long lines with. So give the parents a one-line break, whatever.
Or around. The people don't want to be around a kid that is like at their limit in the line.
Yeah, well, it's like an airplane.
So yeah, I agree with that. The concern I have is that at some point we go back to the idea of the e-ticket or the ticket books. In other words, like that we're still going to be paying $144 to get into into Hollywood Studios, but now we have to pay per ride. That's the one thing I always loved about Disney versus a carnival, is that you knew that you paid one price, you got in, you did whatever you wanted to, and I love that. I worry about the day where we have to pay for everything. I'm planning a trip to Japan, and I'm worried about the difference, because some things are lottery and some things are you pay to play, and some things, there are a lot of differences that make it complicated. Like you were talking about, P, that it's too complicated for most people. That it used to be you just buy a ticket, you go in, and you have a magical day. I am glad that virtual queue has gone, because it made it before that you either won the lottery in the morning and you were able to get a pass, and even if you did that, it could have been at 8 o'clock tonight, and Allison's gonna have to keep her kid out to 8 o'clock to be able to ride something, or you paid. Those are your two options. I'm glad that's gone. People argue with me all the time. They're like, Rob, I don't want to wait in line. Virtual queue is great for me. It's like, yeah, if you had fast fingers and you could get it, or you loved getting up at 5:50 in the morning to be able to get.
It was great as a local, because I live close enough where I was just logging in. I was getting it, and if I get it in the morning, great. If not, I don't care. But I also agree with you that I don't think it was fair.
At 5:50 or whatever, to get 6:50 to get it. It was so frustrating. What I hated about that was some things were virtual queue and lightning lane plot. Like I feel like I'm there all the time, and I still just want to say fast pass, because it just drives me insane. But paid lightning lane and virtual queue. Other things were just the paid lightning lane. Other things were just virtual. Like every single top e-ticket attraction had different rules. And how complicated is that? There were in Magic Kingdom alone, a year and a half ago, Mine Train, Tron, and Tiana all had different rules for how you would get on those rides. And that's an insane system, particularly in Florida, where so many families, there are lots of repeat visitors, but there are a lot of people who go once every 5-10 years or once in a lifetime. And they were like, this is too many rules. It was too many rules for me.
Well, let's throw in some more rules here. So even if you get Lightning Lane, you have to understand these rules. And this is Disney World. I wasn't even going to get involved with Disneyland, because it's a completely different set. How these companies operate two parks that are supposed to be under the same umbrella and operate them so differently still surprises me to this day. But these are the rules for Walt Disney World. Guests with resort hotels have 7 days before your resort stay, up to 14 days, and you start at 7 a.m. up to 14 days ahead of time. Guests with date-based tickets get it 3 days, the ability to book 3 days beforehand, and guests with other ticket types 3 days beforehand. Annual pass holders 3 days before your park visit at 7 a.m. So much, right? Pete's down here I have no, thank you, not enough. I would like to shout out that there's a site called the Park Prodigy that has this really cool sort of a breakdown of who has which ones are single pass. So you've got Tron, cool. Seven Dwarfs, Guardians, Rise, and Avatar. Which ones are Lightning Lane multi-pass, and what their tiers are. So you can check that out if you're looking to dig in deeper. But I definitely think that I had some of our pack members weigh in on this as well, and I had one reach out to me and suggest VIP tours were an efficient way to do this, because a VIP tour, differently than a Premier Pass. What were you gonna say?
No, I was going to say the VIP tours I'm fine with. Like, those people are paying, but also that's where you're getting the experience. You don't have to worry about setting up ride times. You don't have to worry about this. Like, everything's taken care of. Your meals, your times, everything else. I just think it's crazy as people spend more money and give them more instability on this expensive vacation. It's so many what ifs that it's crazy.
But it comes back down to the time. It's worth it to them to be able to have that experience. But I also feel like once you do it, I don't know how you go back. Like, I don't know how you ever go back, because, you know, they walk you around, they take you in, you know, and it's a more efficient thing than the Lightning Lane Premier Pass. We didn't really talk about the Premier, but the Premier, it includes everything that Lightning Lane does, and you pay one price. You pay up to like $450, I think, for a Magic Kingdom one per person per day on top of your ticket, which is going to be also the most expensive ticket that you buy, and that allows you to walk up to any attraction once and ride it, as opposed to like bopping all over the park because you've set up all these times with your Lightning Lane multi-pass. And then the other thing that's an option for everybody to kind of put a bow on it is you can stand in line. Remember that? Like, that's a thing you can do. Or there's single rider too. A lot of people will just decide to ditch the family and do Pete's like, yep, that's what we do, and do single rider. My brother, his wife were single rider folks, like, for life. They were just like, you know what, we're going to ride it. We're going to both have an experience. We're going to get off and we're going to talk about it. Doesn't really matter if I'm sitting next to her. I was like, okay. Now, that doesn't work if your kid is, you know, you got a small child like Allison does and goes, hey, there's single rider. You go ahead and have a good time. Mommy will see you when you get back. Like, no, that's never gonna fly. Even with that, I know that my daughter, when she was a teen, would have hated the idea of just riding with like somebody else, even if it was going to save 30 minutes. So these are the things that can happen and that you can do, and it's a complicated system, and will continue to, and it's continued to evolve ever since it came out, because people have pushed back, people have asked questions, people have been confused, they've tweaked
bring it back. They could find a way to do it. Give it to pass holders for like a VIP pass holder day. Give it to, I mean, the amount of people pay to stay at these Disney World hotels, even though I'm a local, give them 1 or 2 free a day if they're staying on property. Now with the competition up the road, don't you want to pull people back in? You already got Red and Magical Express to keep them here. Now you have a way to pull them in. Hey, stay on property. I'm sure there'd be a lot of people who are staying off property versus on. And if the prices were kind of close, but they knew every day they got at least one Lightning Lane, that would make a big difference. I'm just saying.
Well, you know, the hard part about all this too is that Disney started out for free, and Universal, when they started theirs, was expensive unless you stayed in a hotel. Then it was free. Well, what a great hotel perk that is for Universal. And then, but the price on it was so expensive that it was always more expensive to get the Express Pass than your day ticket. Your day ticket may be, you know, $100, but your Express Pass is $338. It was shocking, and we were like, nobody was really blinking an eye. You either bought it or you didn't. But with this, they had a free option, and they took it away, and they've sort of it left a bad taste in everybody's mouth, because, like Allison, you were talking about with the Disneyland features, is like they take away more of the magic all the time, more of the perks, more of the features, and it's the things that we were used to and that we used to love about it, and now, you know, that's where we are. So I definitely want to, I mean, we'll probably have to talk about this more some other time, but I want to try to keep it to our time tonight. So before we go, I want to, and what I want to do is I want to get final thoughts from both of you on this and answer the question. But before we go, I want to give a big shout out to our pack. We love our pack, the Park Adventurers Club. Thank you guys so much for being members. We appreciate you. If you want to learn more about it, you can go to patreon.com/GoPack. And of course, if you are an ABC member, the Adventures by Carney, what do you got going on over there, man?
Woohoo! That's me. What do I have going on? We'll be live tomorrow. We're going to Disney, and this is my birthday week, so Friday is my actual birthday, like I just mentioned. So we're going to do Food and Wine Festival. If you're in town, come hang out with me at EPCOT. If not, we're going to stream the first half of the day live while we eat and drink around Food and Wine Friday afternoon, and then show you a little Joey Fatone and Friends that night. And we'll have
talk
some
about
surprise concert too.
Talk about off the chain, man. That is going to be a scary thing. Pete Carney, Food and
So,
Wine,
come
and
on,
on his birthday. Come on. I did see one of your members tweet you a happy birthday, and I was like, wait a minute, this isn't his birthday. I was like,
man,
oh,
Vince, SJG3 Collectibles. Go check them out. eBay
Yep.
stores. 25 years in the business, 0 complaints. Commercial.
Yeah, love Vince. All right, so before we go, final thought, and the question is: before you, the park adventurers that are meeting with the club tonight, when should you pay for Lightning Lane? And we will start the conversation with Allison. When should you, or who should pay for Lightning Lane?
First, you make sure you have the discretionary income. Don't pay for it if you cannot afford it, because it's not worth getting yourself into a hole for. If you only have if you are not local, or you do not go often, or you are with somebody who does not go often, and it's important to get in as much as you possibly can in that particular day, in that particular park, then I say go for it. It's worth throwing money at it in that situation. But otherwise, if you can live the life like Pete lives, or like I live every once in a while when I go by myself for a day or two, just stroll around and enjoy it. Just like, it's fine. Makes it a little less stressful.
It's fine. Okay, that makes sense. And hold on, Mr. Pete. Oh, hold on. Wait. I got this. Where are you at? And ready, go.
Hi, I'm Pete. When should you pay for Lightning Lane? Really, I agree with Allison. It really depends on you and your situation. This is going to sound like a joke to some people, but some people would understand, and maybe they know someone like this. If you're someone who could drop a $100 bill out of your pocket and realize it 15 minutes later and your day is not ruined, you might be someone who that Lightning Lane is for. If you're someone that would probably ruin your day for a little bit and be pretty bummed, maybe save it for special occasions. Maybe that one big trip, you're going on a special honeymoon or an anniversary. I don't know. It's tough. I would say do your homework with finding out what days the parks are less likely to be full, so shorter average wait times, and go to parks on the days where no one else goes. Like going to EPCOT on a Friday or Saturday night is going to be way more busy than if you went there on a Tuesday or Wednesday morning. You can have so much faster wait time. So do a little bit of homework, and maybe you can save a little bit of money.
Yep. Agreed. And I'll echo that. I think the homework is, unfortunately, there's a lot of homework that goes into a Disney trip anymore. What hotel am I going to stay in? Am I getting the best deal? Do I have park reservations? Do I have tickets? What's the best ticket to buy? Do I need Park Hopper? Do I need to have the Memory Maker? Do I need to get Lightning Lane Premier or Magic or a multi-pass, single pass? What days am I going? Which park am I going to be at? ADR, like getting a reservation. Do I need to? It's so much that I think a lot of people are like, you know what? I'm just going to go to Cancun. Pay one price.
Go to Legoland.
Or Legoland. That's what it's either or. It's either Great Wolf Lodge, Legoland, or Cancun. Those are the three options. There are no others.
Never
But hopefully you guys will have we've kind of like sparked some conversation here. Please let us know in the comments below your story, your reasoning, what you think, and again, you can wish Pete a happy birthday and all those fun things. But Allison, it was great to have you here. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us. And Mr. Pete Carney, you're the man. This is like old home week, having both of you guys on here hanging out with the Park Adventurers Club. So thank you guys for being here. Hopefully we'll get you guys back soon. We do not have a Park Adventurers Club next Sunday night. We always meet Sunday nights at 8:30, but not next Sunday night because I will be down at Destination D23 hoping that they have park news. I'll try to do a live stream. Maybe I'll sneak up behind Pete and try to sneak into his. Who knows? Who knows what'll happen? But
I would love you to do that.
Yeah, but Wednesday night, join us for a look on the plus side. We're going to be talking about Bambi, and then Friday night is going to be Castaways. That's the show that Stephanie does, where she interviews a cast member, a previous cast member who used to make the magic. And this week, Jake, our buddy Jake, is the one under the gun, under the interview of his life. So tune into that on Friday at 8 p.m. Otherwise, you guys have a great week. Don't forget, adventure is out there. We'll see you soon.